We got two great guests in studio today. Today is Financial Awareness Day. So we thought we'd welcome into the show here Erik Newman and Kirk Smith from Peninsula Credit Union. Morning, guys.
Hey,
morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in. Good to see you, Kirk, as always. Erik, this is your first time here, huh?
It is, yeah.
That's awesome. We'll see you down there at the credit union, working hard. Somebody's got to.
Right? He's been with the credit union for how long now?
Just over a year.
Just over a year, but he just barely came into his new role as the community financial educator. So
Perfect
been about
timing.
2 months. Yeah, it's been perfect.
So what does that job entail? And when do you go out and talk to groups or talk to folks who come in looking for some help?
Yeah, my main goal is to just find the people in need in Mason County. Anybody who's having trouble with financial literacy. Anybody who's afraid to come into a bank or credit union for fear of being told no.
Sure.
Just kind of introducing people to the services and products that our credit union can offer. Anything to assist them in their time of need.
That is a big thing. Is money is always such a touchy subject within even your own personal headspace or with your families, and then you want to do the right thing, but you don't know where to take the right steps, and you see banks, most prominently banks, I guess, but credit unions come across, in my opinion, a little friendlier, in certain ways. But you see banks and they got their stuffy suits and they've got their super high-rise buildings. And
yeah, please put the pen back, sir, when you're done with it.
Yeah, right. And we talk a lot about Dave Ramsey and stuff here because we have him on in the afternoons. And one of the things he talks about is you fly into these major city centers. Charlotte is a big example of the financial industry down there, and you see these huge skyrise buildings at Bank of America or SunTrust or Wells Fargo, and so those got to get paid for by somehow. Mm-hmm. It's almost, I hate to probably liken this to this, but I will. It's almost like casinos. They build these giant casinos. Well, where's all that money coming from? And a lot of times it comes from different fees and different ways they're kind of sticking it to their users at times and their credit card charges. A little different when it comes to credit unions, I know, and you guys do a lot of community goodwill and a lot of work out there to make it a little more comfortable. You go into Peninsula here in downtown Shelton, you walk in and it's a friendly atmosphere, it's wide open, there's a lot of people that are able to answer questions for you. What are some of the main things that people come up and they go, gosh, I would love to be able to become a member of the credit union, but I just don't think I'm ready for that, or I don't think I would qualify. What are some ways you kind of talk about that?
That is a big concern of a lot of people that come into the credit union. There are qualifications that you have to meet for membership, but they're fairly easy to meet. And the other thing about credit unions is they don't like to say no.
Sure.
We can help it. We don't want to say no. We'll work with you in whatever way we can to meet your needs.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of what Erik's role is to help those people. There's many people out there, and if you're one of them, that just aren't comfortable walking into the building. Erik spends his time 2 days a week. He's at Sound Learning here in Shelton, and then he's in North Mason Resources up in Belfair, and he'll meet you at an offsite location and get to know you and help you and answer some questions. No commitment, no cost, and that's the purpose of his role, is to just get out there and help any individual become more comfortable with where they're at and what they need, answer some questions. Sometimes in generalities, just, it doesn't matter where you bank, he will still help you. And sometimes with specifics, like here's what you would need to open your account with Peninsula Credit Union. Wow. And that's really the purpose of his role, is to help all feel really comfortable doing that.
That's great. Nobody does that, that's great service.
When it comes to financial awareness, and today's being that day, so we're kind of focusing on that a little bit, you get... oftentimes now everything is done online, kind of direct deposit with your paycheck, kind of automatic bill pays and things like that. What are some of the ways that you've heard that people really, maybe not every 2 weeks or maybe not once a month, but on a somewhat regular basis, look at the statements that are coming in and out? Because some of these, if you're getting like a cell phone bill, there may be a fee on there that you never signed up for or you inadvertently signed up for, and $3 or $4 every month, that can start to add up a little bit.
And it's 3 or 4 there and 3 or 4 somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Or even your subscription fees to your some streaming services or things like that. Are those the types of things that you go through? Or are people you open up and kind of do a budget with them, a line item budget, or?
Yeah, absolutely. If somebody needs me to, we can comb through their statements, their spending history, and we can kind of pick and choose. Okay, do you need this? Do you want this?
Yeah.
What can we trim off the budget so you can start building some savings, or so you can start putting some more money down on your debt. That is definitely something that you can do at the credit union or with me, in or out of that credit union as well.
For sure.
But
it really goes back to just making sure whatever the individual is comfortable with. Somebody might come and say, I'm okay month to month, but I need a new car and I don't know how to do that. Sure. Erik can help set those goals and establish that as well. It just kind of depends on the individual of what they're looking for, but he has many tools to be able to help do that.
A lot of these can be found on Peninsula's website, and they're great partners in the community, and you can get different newsletters. I know Jim is out in the community a ton, not only here in our local community, but kind of in a worldwide sense. He goes all over the place to spread the good word of what credit unions can do. And, what are some other things that you can share with folks on just being aware, whether it's credit checks or credit reports, or what are some baby steps that someone could take today to kind of start to put them on the right path of being financially stable?
So first things first, what I always like to do at the beginning of my month or at my first paycheck of the month, I pay myself first. I treat my savings account like it's a bill. And that is a really easy way to just, put $5, $10, $20 aside every check. And that really helps bolster your savings.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That's a
lot of people wouldn't do that, to pay themselves first. I hear that, and it's kind of an abstract concept to me. It's hard for me to put wrap my brain around what that means. That you explained it well. I mean, I understand now. But
and like Erik said, it doesn't have to be $500 a month. I mean, lots of people, many of us, I don't have that much money spare just sitting around that I can do that with.
Sure.
So even if it is $5, at the end of the year, that's $60 that otherwise you would have just blown on other things. So that's just a good step.
Wow.
Do you guys have any opinions on those apps? They're getting more and more popular. The ones that like Acorn and that set aside, like they round up when you use a debit card. Like if you spend $1.79, it'll take that extra change and put it in little investments of your choice, and then it adds up during the course of the year. Do you have any thoughts on that, or the effectiveness of that?
There's a lot of awesome tools and things out there. They're not for everybody, right? Yeah. But if that's something that resonates with you and it makes you feel comfortable, and it's like, hey, that's going to help pay myself first, then by all means, I think that's a good solution. I mean, every little bit that you can save helps. So yeah, I mean, it's just look for what works for you, and if it makes sense, do it. I mean, that's
kind of like an out of sight, out of mind thing too. I mean, if it's the bank's rounding up for you and putting it into a savings account or investing it, which are some of those options as well. If you're not seeing it and it's pennies, adds up a month to a certain amount, but if it's pennies per, it's a lot less.
Every transaction, there's going to be some change.
Sure.
And, that'll add up pretty quick.
You got another one or two for me here?
Sure. Another thing that's really important is to kind of get in the daily mindset of disciplining yourself. If you're likely to spend cash, if you've got it on hand, maybe don't hang on to cash, or just kind of look at your relationship with money. Am I going to spend this? Am I going to be able to save this? How tempted am I going to be, to spend this $20? I know I was saving it for this, but now I've got this delicious food in front of me or something, and it is really easy to get tempted. So it's kind of this like discipline, learning contentment. Okay, I'll be fine. I have, chips and juice at home or something. That's another big thing. I know that was something I struggled with for a long time, and finally I was able to just kind of train my own mind to be happy with the things that I have.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of books on kind of like the law of attraction, abundance, and things like that. And I think there's a lot of truth to the fact that our parents kind of raised a lot of us on kind of the scarcity mentality. Like money doesn't grow on trees, and what do you think I am, made of money? And
Right.
do you think that if, I mean, it seems like people have a real hard time with money, even people who have a lot of money, like even they're worried about losing what they have, you know, even if it's millions. It seems like it's always a stressor for so many people, and
Right.
it's almost like we're just taught, like the schools don't really teach finances as they should. I think kids ought to learn that from a young age, you know, just basics, balancing a checkbook, and don't spend more than you make, and live within your means. And what are your thoughts on that? I think that people have like a really tough relationship with money, huh? No matter, even if you're making it and doing well.
Yeah, it's always on the top of mind, and that's, as Jeff referenced earlier, it's a stressor, you know, from a very young age to a very old age, and we don't talk about it as much as we probably should, because what I've learned working at a credit union is everybody, as to your point, Spencer, everybody has those stressors, those moments of inadequacy where they don't feel like they have enough, or they don't know enough about what they're going to do, and that's okay. That's why there's experts, right? And Erik and I, we're not perfect, but we have some resources, and we have other people who know more about us, right? And so, or more about money than us. So we can find resources, we can find help. But absolutely, it's something that's really important. One of the things that we've done at Shelton High School for the last several years is a financial reality fair, and we've partnered with the school there to do that. We go to the library and have this opportunity where basically in a 1 hour period they go out and they have to build a budget, and then go out to these different booths like the auto loan booth and get an auto loan, and it's really, it's sheltered, it's protected. You're not risking your own money, but there's a lot of life lessons that can be learned there.
That's
and that's
great. That's great.
That's one thing that we feel really helps with the community, is start those conversations. It's not going to solve all the problems, but at least it gets those students thinking about how can I be better in the future with my actual money.
Kirk, Erik, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in, talking with us a little bit.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
You can always go check out more at Peninsula Credit Union's website, and 8